Hey, Milky here, back again with another deck highlight video for MarvelSNAP. Today we have a bit of a different take on a deck. I've been wanting to do more starter decks and things that are going to help out people early on in the game. So I've made a deck called Blue Boost, and this deck is made entirely of pool 1 and 2 cards. So it makes it really accessible for players that are, getting into the game at early stages and progressing through their collection track to build out this deck and hopefully get some success with it. So the deck really revolves around the boosting mechanic, and it has lots of cards in the deck which boost other cards that are on the board and also multiply that effect as well to hopefully get a really wide board with lots of cards out, and then you go down and double down on boosting all of the power of those cards up towards the end of the game. It can be a bit surprising and can have lots of power on the board towards the end of the game. It's definitely not as powerful as some of the pool 3 decks, which you run up against on the ladder, especially the Mr. Negative and with the Peak at the moment. But it can be really consistent in its own right, because all of the key pieces can work individually or together as you play them out. So there's not one single combo that you have to build up to and get off at one point. It can be played out consistently. Pretty much in most games you're going to get at least some of the boost mechanic off on the cards that you have on the board. So with that being said, let's get into the breakdown and look at some of these particular cards in the deck. So I won't go into every single card in this deck, but what I will do is give a general overview of some of the cards in the deck and then really hone in on the key cards which are going to really boost your power and make this deck really consistent as you play it through. So one of those key cards is Ant-Man. Getting Ant-Man down on a board, you're always going to want to play lots of cards into locations with this deck. So playing Ant-Man early, you're going to get the benefit of having 4 cards in that location for the most part later on. So he's a really solid card in this deck. So we also have Sunspot in this deck, and Sunspot is just a super solid 1-drop. We've talked about it a lot before, but he's a great go-to if you're looking at running 1-drops in your deck. We then have some really great disruption cards like Iceman and Yondu. They destroy cards in your opponent's deck or add cost to the cards in your opponent's hand. It's just a really good way to disrupt what your opponent is trying to do, especially with lots of decks at the moment running key combo pieces or things needing to be played in certain orders. It's a great way to disrupt their hand or their deck early on. We also have Rocket Raccoon, and Rocket Raccoon is just a really strong 1-drop, can represent the same body as Ant-Man if you play it correctly and you get that on reveal effect. So he's just a strong card to have in the deck too at 1-drop. And all of these 1-drops are going to get the double bonus from Kazar as well, and playing him boosting all 1-drops in your deck. So following on, we have Angela in the deck, and Angela is just a really strong card to play when you want to play lots of cards at a location. She'll get the 2+ bonus each time you play a card at the same location as her, and it's really easy to fill up with this deck. We don't run Nightcrawler, and lots of people love the Angela and Nightcrawler mechanic where you can play Nightcrawler and then move him away and free up a spot. But I just found that I really like the boost mechanic of having Rocket Raccoon in the deck. But if you do like the option of having Nightcrawler, feel free to swap him out, probably for Rocket Raccoon. Then we have another key card in the deck, which is Okoye, and Okoye really plays into that boost mechanic. Playing her ideally on turn 2 will boost the rest of your deck by 1+ power and set you up for really strong plays as you move forward in the game as well. Next up we have Bishop, and Bishop is just a really great card to play in a deck like this. You are going to be playing lots of cards, especially with the 1-drops that you have. So there could be times when you hold Bishop in your hand and you don't play all your 1-drops at the start, where you'll play Bishop on turn 3 and then play out lots of cards following that to boost his power. So a little bit of play around that you can do with Bishop, but really strong card in this style of deck. Then we have Captain America, and Captain America is a flavor choice of mine. I think he's a great card. He's definitely underplayed for sure, but I just like the way he boosts the rest of his team. I think thematically it's great, and I think he works really well in a pool 1 and 2 deck like this. So now we get into the cards that are really going to feed into that boost mechanic of this deck. Kazar will provide 1+ power to all of your single cost cards that are on the board, and he's also a great target for Onslaught later in the game too. He also brings 4 power to the table, which is nothing too shabby, but he just provides a really good buff for the single cost cards that are already on your board. So next up we have the newly buffed man himself, Blue Marvel, and Blue Marvel provides really good utility now that he's a 5-drop. He went from a 6 cost 4 power to a 5 cost costs 3 power, and that really brings up his utility in the game and his playability in a lot of decks as well. He provides a buff to every single card that is on the board currently at the moment, and cards that will be played in the future with his ongoing effect, and he makes up a really good target as well for Onslaught on turn 6 too. Rounding out the deck, we have Onslaught, and Onslaught is your big turn 6 play. Ideally, you really want to draw into him. A perfect location might look something like Khazar into Blue Marvel into Onslaught, doubling down on both of their buffs across the deck. If you were playing this with a pool 3 card, you might even get a Wave in there and a Mystique to double down on Onslaught's effect, make it even more high roll and crazy. But with this pool 2 and pool 1 version, we're really looking at providing that boost across the board with the cards that we can get from those pools. And Onslaught's a great way to double down on your boosting mechanics from key cards like Khazar and Blue Marvel. That's a wrap on the deck highlight. Let's get into some games and see how we go with it all. Okay, so first up we have Mr. Popo. And straight into the TVA, so that's a crazy location to get with this deck. We'll get Sunspot down and we'll kick on. And then Murder World, so can't actually play anything into Murder World. This is a bit of a crazy turn. They may have a way to flip the TVA, which makes Koye the better play. I think I'll play a Koye just in case. I'm also just wondering how many cards we're going to be able to get off in this turn and next turn to make, or next turn to make Bishop worth it. It's almost not. So I might. I think I will. I think I'll play Bishop out, and then maybe he storms this. Okay, so he morphs Onslaught, not Onslaught. Okay, so he hits Rocket Raccoon. No on reveal effect there.
Time's up.
We hit. We do hit. I think I like this play. So we play Rocket Raccoon left, kind of covered if they got an on-reveal. Iceman in the mid to try and sneak that away, and then Yondu to add 2 power on the right. Also, while all 3 adding power to Bishop. So let's go ahead and lock this in. We'll see how we go. So he does get the Ironheart, which does win him, or draws him in the TVA with our Sunspot proc. But we do win the other 2 locations, so a good one to start things off. And TVA is, if you do get TVA, it's definitely in favor in the, for this deck with the low cost of the deck. And if they can't flip it, it can often result in a quick win. Yeah, let's go to the next. Okay, so for this one we have Gui Bister. Let's go with that. And we do get the Sunspot, so we'll get Sunspot down on the board. Hellfire Club's definitely not the best for us in this deck, but we can play around with some other cards that we've got. We get Baxter, so Baxter's probably going to be something we want to go after to provide an additional boost to our deck for sure. And they do have Quicksilver, so Quicksilver's an interesting one. Could be mid-range, could be Agatha, who knows? There's a Psylocke. Okay, so they're ramping. It still could be Agatha for sure. Might go ahead and get Captain America down. If we are getting the combo, I think we're playing it over in left lane because Miniaturized Lab is going to lock us out until turn 6. Let's see how we go here. They do get a Sunspot mid, which isn't amazing. We do have a 5 power Khazar though, which is quite nice. We'll get him out on the board, and he skips this turn, which takes him up to 9 mid. I'm still not sure what kind of deck this is. the moment we're gonna want to get these cards out, I think, because next turn we're just not going to be able to. If we're playing Onslaught next turn, it is what it is. That's what we got. So blue Marvel, we have space for a Yondu, which we can get out, but okay. So he has the Iron Man on Baxter, which is pretty rough. We're not going to be able to beat that one, I don't think. So he is probably going to play into. Is there a world where we do this, which gives us a potential of 7 power left as is? It definitely foregoes what we're trying to do in mid. But I guess adding... It actually gives us a boost on Sunspot, so we actually add 4 mid, as opposed to just adding 2. Yeah, this is definitely the play. Seems a bit strange, but it's definitely the play, I think. We got up to 13 in this lane, which isn't bad. We do... Okay, so Jubilee could go crazy for them here. And the Wolfsbane. We do end up sneaking away the win there. Actually, not even sneaking. We get the trifecta. We get the triple on the location win there, with a good read on the Rocket and Yondu play. We also got a bit lucky with them, with their Jubilee play only pulling Wolfsbane, but yeah, we snuck that one away. That was a good one. We'll move on to the next. Okay, so for this one we have Juice, straight into Limbo as the first location. So Limbo is definitely not ideal for us. We do have the full combo in hand. With Limbo, I am going to skip turn 1, because we will have extra time to get things out on the board. Yeah, Limbo is a bit of a... Often other decks can make some stronger plays that late in the game. That kind of does actually makes our hand a bit worse, except for Blue Marble, with the peak, but I think we'll go ahead and play Angela out on the board. Doesn't really do a lot to our hand. It kind of makes our Onslaught a bit worse, Rocket Raccoon a little bit worse, but a little bit better on Blue Marble. They get a Lizard out on the board. So potentially some sort of ongoing deck, not fully sure at this time. Let's try and win. I'm just thinking, if he has counter cards, we could get ourselves in a little bit of trouble playing it too early. But we do want to get the value we can out of Rocket Raccoon. Let's make this play. I don't think we're going to have anything with too crazy singular power to take out Monster Metropolis, or to get the bonus from Monster Metropolis. So we'll go with this play. We don't get rewarded. Gives us a chance to get Onslaught out. We would lose 1 power on Bishop if we do Onslaught. I think it seems weird, but because it really doesn't matter what order we play these in, so I'm actually gonna get Bishop out. Seems odd, but so his Ronin shouldn't get too much value. We should be able to kind of quickly dump our hand here. I'm not sure if he plays a rogue or... Oh, I really don't want to play into a rogue. So we've got 5, 6, and 7 mapped out now. We might go for the... We'll try and bait it out with the Khazar. Hopefully we do draw into some other things that we can play here, which might be a bit stronger. Maybe a Captain America would be great. We'll see how we go with this. So he plays JJ in the right lane and Iceman, which hits our Blue Marvel. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're still going to be able to probably play Blue Marvel in something next turn. It might be big actually, because we might get stuck on if we draw Captain America. No, so we do draw something we can play, which is probably going to be our best play. What else have we got left in the deck? We've got Captain America, which won't be playable next turn. We have Sunspot, which will be playable. We'll go to +2, so same as Okoye. So I think we do play the Okoye here. And next turn, I think we draw the Sunspot and we go. Okay, so the Storm changes Limbo, and then he caps out his left location and right location with Zola. And the Zola is a 6 power, so that's pretty notable actually. So we do end up winning sneakily, even though we didn't actually get to make the greatest play. But because we played out lots of those cards, his Ronin ended up only being 3 power. The Storm play on Limbo on turn 6 was kind of wild. We had it set up for Onslaught for the next turn, but actually getting Blue Marvel and Okoye down makes a pretty good difference there for us. I'm not sure it wouldn't have fully mattered, but it was a good play to make for sure. Okay, so for this one we have Gooey and straight into Savage Land as the first location. So we'll get a benefit from Khazar, but I think we could have played better things on the board than these Raptors. But it's probably better for us than it is for them, unless they can destroy it. Let's get Iceman out early. We'll get the ball rolling with the deck. We do have Bishop in hand, which gets hit by their Iceman. So they could be playing a similar kind of, potentially some sort of zoo deck, I'm not certain. This is starting to really fill up some board space for us here. Let's go ahead and get Angela out. We just might have to be a little bit more tactful in the things that we play. Do we take 2 Hulks, or do we take... Because Captain America could come in really big. It's a shame that we didn't draw something else we could play in here. I think let's go ahead and take the 2 Hulks. Does put us in a bit of a weird spot in terms of what we actually are going to be playing. He drops Ironheart, which is a nice play, gets the buff and then gets a Hulk, but we are up in the Gamma Lab. So actually all of these are 1 cost. Let's go ahead and get Khazar out. We might Onslaught next turn. We're not going to be able to get the full combo off because of board space, but we might be able to do some sneaky plays. So we actually did draw into the full combo. We just need to think now where we want to play Blue Marvel and Onslaught, what lane we're going to go after. I think let's say we've won left lane, let's just tentatively say that. And we'll go in on the right lane here. So we're going to go to 9, we'll go to 16 plus, so if they don't have a way to add power over here, we will win the left lane. I think it's still our best play. Let's go ahead and play Onslaught on the Blue Marvel. And we'll see how we go. Adding 13 power to the left. So we'll see if they can come up over 22. They play in a mid. Interesting. Maybe expecting us to play in a mid. Oh, we only go to 20? Oh, I miscalculated. And they double trigger on Mjolnir into the deck, which doesn't quite do it for them. Right. Cool. So we do sneak out the win there with going for the Hulks was a good play. We did lose board space to do the full combo, but we were able to make it work in the end, even despite my terrible math. We'll go to the next. Okay, so for this one we have Heniku. And straight into the Sanctum, so not a great one for us as we don't have any great ways to get into the Sanctum. I think we just play Ant-Man out this turn. Looking like an Okoye onto Bishop on 3 for the moment, and they have the Nightcrawler, so they're going to have a play to get over, and then we have the Crimson Chaos, so we might be getting a little bit wrecked by locations here. We don't have a lot of space to play for sure, so we might be looking at doing, if we do get the combo, doing that mid. And I just don't think we're going to have the benefit from Angela to do that, so let's go ahead and get Bishop out. Maybe we can start drawing into some combo pieces here. So no on-reveal effects in the right lane. We only have this play, which seems terrible. 5-6, maybe it's our only play. Yeah, maybe it's our only play. Let's play Angela. It's not great, but it does put a little bit of power on. And they have the Punisher, which is not ideal for us. We can Blue Marvel this turn. We can Kazar and something else next turn. That might be our better play. We have no way to win Sanctum, which is a bit sad. Okay, so they play Professor X into the Crimson Chaos, which actually makes it pretty strong for us. We do kind of sneak that away. I think this is a really cool Cosmo variant. I think we have to play Kazar, and it just is what it is. The other option here is Kazar just gives us 1 power mid. The other option is, oh no, it's Hellfire Club. Completely missed that, so I can't even play Sunspot. So our only play is Kazar. Let's see how it goes. I don't know if we're going to be able to sneak this one away, but they move over Nightcrawler. We go up to 20, and they get an Iron Man with 18, so we do sneak it away. So the Professor X play kind of backfired a little bit on them, and we're able to sneak it out with a Bishop, Angela, and Kazar to finish things off. So good game. We'll go for the next. Okay, so for this one we have Snowboy and straight into the Bifrost. That is a awesome avatar as well. Hectic. So I think we just get. I think I like Iceman here. Affect what's in his hand. Let's shoot Gilia. Definitely not something we want to play into. With Bishop, I might hold. Okay, and then we'll playing Bishop this turn, and then maybe Okoye and some. Okay, so maybe just Okoye next turn. We potentially could get Onslaught out here, which could be really good for us, which I think we will do. We might be foregoing the old Okoye this game. Okay, cool. So Onslaught comes down, and they do drop the Professor X, so and we get the immediate retreat. Live and die by the Professor X plays. Alright, we'll move on to the next. Okay, so for this one we have Lakropsky. And we do have Iron Man to play on turn 1, so we'll just play him into Kunlun. And then next up we have Mojo World. So Mojo World is a pretty good location for us. I need to probably get as much power as I can there. Sorry, power as I can there. I would also love to get Okoye down. We could Okoye this turn and then Angela next. But if this is a bad location, we kind of want this open for our boosting combo. I might actually just play Angela and then pass. Okay, and they also play Angela, so it could be some sort of zoo deck. I'm not too sure quite yet. So we'd have 3 draws with Okoye cards, which makes her like a 3/5, which is decent. Then we probably don't get Captain America down, which is a bit of a shame. So I'm going to go Cap here into Mojo World. Okay, so they drop Forge. So definitely probably some kind of zoo deck. I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I think I am going to go Kazar over into Kunlun. We'll see how we go here. So the Forge buff for them goes onto Sunspot. Okay, so moves up to a 6 power. Okay, so we do draw Onslaught for next turn. Do we just go ahead and cap out the location? Seeing as though we will have Onslaught. I'm wondering if I even play Okoye here. Do I want the 3 power on Sunspot now? Or do I want it on some more power in left lane? I have a feeling he's going to go after Mojo World, so I'm going to pass. Okay, so that's pretty good for us, actually. We do destroy his Iron Man, so that's an awesome destroy from Yondu. So we're at 18, he's at 7. Sorry, because we get the 3+, we're at 21 in mid. I think this kind of just seals it. I don't know what he could play, like... Does a Giganto get it done? I don't even know. What could he play here? Magneto doesn't do anything. Giganto? No, I don't think it would do it. Because this will put us to... No, it will draw us. But we should win in mid. I think we're good here. I think this is this could be a dub. I don't want to speak too soon, but the Yondu actually taking out their Iron Man was huge. Absolutely massive. And it was, and Yondu does destroy the top card, so that was a big one. I don't know if they would have won. They would have just gone to 20 to 18. So we do get the win. It's a good one. Let's move to the next. Okay, so next up we have Bird, and we go straight into Avengers Compound. So not a bad location for us. I think we're going to skip turn 1 here. And the classic debate, Okoye or Angela down first. I have a pretty strong turn 3 now as well, so I might go ahead and get Okoye down at this point. It's tough because you always want to play Angela. and then start playing out cards. But I think with the Angela Bishop, we might be able to push the. Okay, so Hell's Kitchen comes out as well, drawing us into Iceman. I think I'm gonna start trying to get cards down, and we can flood pretty quickly with Angela. So with Angela and these 1-drops that we have. So I'll go Bishop over in the right lane. This could potentially be some sort of Odin deck, maybe double triggering Wolfsbane. Not too sure just yet. But we have a pretty strong play with Angela. We can just drop a bunch of cards here pretty safely. I think this is quite good. We have the Blue Marvel and Onslaught, so... And they do continue to play in a mid. Okay, which draws a White Tiger, which isn't great for us, but it also... We only have 8 power to beat in mid, so maybe mid we actually start going after Nova Roma here. What could they do mid here? I actually think if we just play into mid, or I forgot about Avengers Compound, that's completely right. So I think the Blue Marble here is the play. There's no way for us to get extra power into mid. Completely forgot about Avengers Compound, but this is probably one of our stronger plays anyways. Okay, so they do have the Devil Dino, which is pretty big at this time. Love to be able to try and sneak some power into mid, and maybe we can now with the... Yeah, I think we drop these mid. And we try and take out mid and right. I think that's the play for us. We could always Onslaught here, but I think this also buffs our Bishop. And it gives us a really good chance of winning mid. 2. So we end up winning mid by 2 power. As long as they don't have their own... Oh, no, 2, 3, 4. So we win by 4 in mid. So even a Blue Marvel just ties them. I think let's go with this, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so the Devil Dino comes down, and they morph into Captain America, which gives them the short lead. But then we are able to take it out with the Khazar buff on the Iceman and Sunspot over there, which actually worked out perfectly. So we definitely needed those wins in those locations. Okay, so for this one we have Bruce Wayne himself, Batman, and we go straight into Stark Tower, so not a bad location for us at all. I'll drop Yondu over in Stark Tower to get things kicked off, things underway. So they also drop in Stark Tower, they got a Hawkeye over there. And we do destroy their Onslaught, which is very nice for us. And Superflow, straight up as the next location's actually a pretty good for us. We don't need to ramp all that fast, but it definitely doesn't hurt. I'll go ahead and get Okoye down. We'll drop Okoye because, yeah, we're just not 100% certain on that last location, so we'll just go with Okoye here into Stark Tower again. And they have a Captain America. Kind of could be a zoo kind of deck. I'm not exactly certain what deck they're running here, but we can Angela here. I mean, this super flow is kind of going crazy for us, so there's lots we can do. This could be this location could be Angela, Khazar, Blue Marvel. Let's go Angela. And they play 3 cards that turn, so for 4 mana, so that's a pretty big push for them. Let's go ahead and play Blue Marvel over onto the Angela here. And we still have lots of kind of space on the board, but also cards that we can quickly get out of our hand too. So I think this is setting us up just fine. And Heat will have priority in terms of revealing first, so at this stage you don't exactly have to worry about a rogue on this turn, but maybe later on. Thinking may start playing into the Superflow next turn. We'll just see what we kind of draw into. Okay, interesting. So they've got a really wild deck, like a Misty Knight, which doesn't really work all that well with the rest of their cards. Interesting. I don't know what this is. Okay, let's go ahead and drop. Let's go ahead and do this. And we kind of hope we draw Onslaught next turn. The other option is we do this and get the full benefit of the cards there. I mean, they might draw into it, or I'm not too sure. Let's go with this. Doesn't feel great, but okay. So it's a Spectrum deck. Lots of ongoing cards, but the Misty Knight is so random. So all our cards are going to get a +2 here, so we're 4 behind. Onslaught does win it for us, and we do draw into the Onslaught, so and keeping the Superflow open actually allows us to play the Rock, which is kind of huge for us. That's massive. Let's go ahead and lock it in. So they play their own Kazar, which buffs up 2 of their cards. They have a buff on the Sunspot. They'll get an extra point on the Sunspot. But we are able to take out the triple location win with the awesome combo at the end. Really, really lucky drawing into Onslaught at the end there, but you got to play that out, like not really playing the odds, but you're playing like you've already won. So that was an awesome one to finish it off. So that wraps up things on our Blue Boost deck. I had an absolute blast playing this one. Across our time actually playing this deck and trying to get footage for this video, we played 13 games and we actually won 11 out of the 13 games, and that is playing up against people with pool 3 decks, all sorts of things. So incredibly consistent deck, especially only having pool 1 and 2 cards. So it's definitely something that you can use to climb the ladder, play around with and tech out cards in and out if you wish, specifically if you want to try out Nightcrawler or things like that. But for me it was incredibly consistent, and also we were cube positive. We had 32 cubes in the positive across those 11 games, so an awesome result for this deck in the end. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and until the next one, I'll see you then.